That me though. That me though. I ain't got no problem with what you do. I'ma do me though. Yeah. I like chains on top of my chains for real, but that's me though. I don't.
All right. Hello, everyone. And how's everyone doing this evening? So I just want to ask you one simple question. Before we jump right in. Have you ever thought about writing a book, but you were feeling stuck, feeling frustrated or stuck because you didn't know where to begin? You didn't know what the book was about or how to actually structure the book properly so that the book reaches its intended audience and makes the impact that you want to make. You know, a lot of people, they try to write books, but they find themselves running into a brick wall where they just get stuck. And they're just like, oh my God, I don't know what to do from here. I don't know what to write about. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to include in the book. And they find themselves getting frustrated and they abandon the entire project altogether. But tonight I'm going to focus on the number one mistake that most authors, especially new authors, make. The number one mistake that most authors make. And it's a really, really big mistake. And most people don't even realize that they are making it. And that mistake is this: they start writing a book, but they write for themselves as opposed to writing for their readers. Let me say that again. And this is the biggest mistake that most authors tend to make. They'll write a book and they pour their heart and soul into the book. They share all of their experiences, just share their story, all of the horrific things that they went through. And they are sharing their story, but their mistake is that they are writing the book for themselves. They are not writing the book for the reader. And here's something, and you know, this is one of those revelations that just, for some people, it's a difficult thing for them to really handle. And that's this: most people are not interested in your story as much as you think they are. What people are really interested in is, can you help them? They are looking for a solution to their problem. They're looking for a book that can answer their questions, that can provide answers and solutions and help them with problems they are dealing with. And when you position your book as the destination, you just talk about you talk about your story. Oh, you know, I used to do this, or I used to do that, or this is what I went through. This is what I faced or experienced. But you don't make the book about them, then guess what? They tune the book out. And tonight I want to share with you a very quick fix: how to actually write a book that people are going to want to read, that people will find irresistible and will not won't want to put it down. How to actually share your story in a way that it connects with others so that they will want to buy it, because this happens all the time. People, they invest their heart, their soul into their book. They're sharing their story in their book, but no one buys it. No one even picks it up. And the reason why is because of the way that they have titled the book and the way that they are positioning the book, that they are writing the book for themselves as opposed to the reader. So if you hear my dog, that's just my little Yorkie that thinks it's a Cane Corso. You know, just he want to protect the house. So that's who you hear making all that noise in the background. So I'm going to put this on the screen and just share again a very quick fix. If you're writing a book, you want to do this. If you want your book to make sales, if you want your book to actually make sales, if you want people to pick it up, read it, and say, wow, and pass it along to other people and bring more people to the table, you want to incorporate what I'm about to share with you right now. So I'm going to put this on the screen right quick. And this, like I said, is just a quick fix, a solution for you to take. So this is what I call the solution formula. Your book needs to speak to the reader, and it needs to speak to them about their problem, not merely advertise you and your experiences. No, it needs to be about them, not about you. And this is how you take your book, your story, and make it about them. Number one, you need to identify who is the reader. So again, this is one of those very important questions. Who is this book for? Who is the reader? Who is the person that I'm trying to touch or reach with this book? Now, if you're writing a book and you're sharing your story, understand that your story is not going to be everyone's cup of tea. It's not for everyone. If you have escaped, for example, drug addiction, then someone that is not dealing with drug addiction is not going to be drawn necessarily to that story, because that's not something that they can relate to. So you need to know who your target audience is. Who are you writing? Who is the reader that you want to pick up your book? I'll share a good example right here. I remember I was working with a client a couple of years ago, and she was putting her book together. And she asked a very interesting question. She said, I don't know if I should put my face on the cover of the book. And I asked her why, but I already knew the answer. I was like, well, why don't you want to put your cover on the face of the book? And she was like, well, I'm afraid that if I put my cover on the face of the book, it's not going to sell as much as if I just had concept art. Why is that? Because how some people are, they see a black woman's face on the cover, they're gonna be like, nah, I don't want that, because I don't want to read anything from someone like that. And I looked at her and I said, well, here's the deal. If you are afraid, and let's just call it as it is, if you're afraid that a racist is going to pick up the book and see your face on it and then put it down or burn it, because, oh my God, I can't believe a black woman's face is on the cover, and you're that afraid that a racist person is going to not buy the book, then maybe that person is not your audience to begin with. Maybe your book needs to be specifically suited for young African American women, because your experience speaks to them and what they are going through more than another ethnic group or more than another gender. In other words, become very refined in who you're actually writing your book for. Who is the reader, and quit trying to reach everybody and just reach a specific person. Are you writing for a Christian? Are you writing for someone in the church? Are you writing for someone that has grown up in an environment that you're used to? Maybe they came out of the hood, or they are living in the hood, and that's the person that you're trying to reach. You're not trying to reach the trailer park, or you're not trying to reach Park Avenue or Buckhead. You're going down there to Bankhead, and so you need to know who it is that you're trying to reach. So that's the first thing. The second thing is this. What problem are they trying to solve? Not you, they. What problem are they trying to solve? So are they trying to, let's say, get out of the hood? Are they trying to build a business with no college degree? That's a very specific person. Everyone want to be an entrepreneur, but not everyone goes to college. So, hey, this book is for those that want to succeed in business, but don't have the luxury or the time or the wherewithal to go to a school and get a degree and all of that stuff. I'm writing this for those individuals. And those individuals are trying to figure out, well, how do I start a business and how do I get myself out there when I don't have the credentials, when I don't have the degree? So what problem are they trying to solve? Are they trying to solve a marketing problem? Are they trying to solve a relationship problem? I remember I was looking at a gentleman, and he was a marriage counselor, and I was actually looking. It was like a whole list of counselors, and you could see the ratings and everything, their score. And this one guy had like the highest score and the highest rating out of all of these hundreds of marriage counselors. And I looked to see what made him so unique. And it was the title of his marriage counseling service. He says, I specifically help Black couples, African American couples, Black men to build relationships with Black women. And I was like, some people will look at that and call it racism, but that's not racism. That's smart, because he understood something, that an African American experience is different from some other people's experience. There are certain things within our culture that are unique to us that other people may not understand. So the more he narrowed down and said, I'm speaking to a specific person with a specific problem, all right, a man who's married to a Black woman, or a woman who's married to a Black man, they hold a specific set of circumstances and problems that other groups may not relate to, from the past to the present. A young Black man gets nervous when he see a cop pulling up, whereas a young white guy, probably like, hey, how you doing? But a young Black man carries a degree of anxiety because of past experiences. So they're culturally different experiences. And this man was winning because he solved a specific problem. So who is the specific reader, number one, and number two, what is the specific problem? And also, what do they want? What is their specific desire? What is the one thing that they are trying to accomplish, or they want more than anything else? They don't just want money. They want security. They don't want to just, find a mate. They want, validation. They want love. So what is the one thing that they are looking for? All of those things you need to consider. You need to consider before you even start writing your book. Trust me when I tell you, this is so profoundly important, because so many people, like I said, they start writing a book and they write the book for themselves as opposed to writing the book for the reader, and they wonder why the book is not selling. And it's because the book is for you, it's not for them. And that goes into how the book is titled, because your title needs to be set up in such a way that it attracts readers to the book, where they are saying, wow, I need that book. Let me give you a good example of this. And I'm going to put this up on the screen as well. Again, when we look at just the problem, and here's something I want to put this up before I jump into how to properly title your book, and that's just going to be a very brief thing, so you want to take notes on this one. But how to share your story, how to do so effectively. Here's a four-step formula right here. This is what you need to do. Number one, when you're writing your book and you're talking about your story, don't make it about you, make it about the reader. This is how you do it, by implementing these 4 steps. Number one, you talk about the problem. Okay, the problem was, I was in an abusive relationship, or the problem was I was addicted to drugs or alcoholism, or the problem was, I grew up in poverty and I didn't have a father or figure or what have you. First, start with the problem. The second is you want to talk about also what happened. You want to talk about, okay, this is, the problem that I was feeling, or this is what I was, going through. And then this is the critical moment. This is something that happened. I was in an abusive relationship and the person I was with nearly killed me, and that was like the wake up moment, when my eyes flung open, or I was in, drugs and alcohol and I had an overdose and I almost died. And that was a aha moment, like I need to get my life together. So you need to talk about the problem, then bring it to a pivotal moment where something happened in the midst of that problem you were dealing with that caused your eyes to open. The next thing you need to focus on is the lesson. So this is what I learned from that. I learned that life is too short for me to waste my life and waste my time hanging around the wrong people and engaging in the wrong things. I learned that I need to get out from around a certain crowd if I'm going to change my life. So what lesson did you learn? And then the fourth thing is, now this is how this applies to you. This is how this pertains to your specific situation. You see, I talk about my problem that I experienced. I share a very pivotal moment in my life while I was going through that situation. I then talk about the lesson that I learned, and now I bring it down to the reader. Now, this is how this applies to you. This is what you can take away. This is the instruction that you can take away from my experience. Now you're making it about them as opposed to you. Now you're making it about them as opposed to you. So now I want to show you, because the way that you title your book is so important. Your book needs to be about them, not about you. It needs to be about how your experience can be the solution to their problem. You see, let me give you some good examples right here. Good examples. Number one, my journey through anxiety. Okay, my journey through anxiety. Most people, when they're writing a book and they're talking about, their depression or anxiety, what they were dealing with, they'll just get up and say, okay, this is my journey, through anxiety. Okay, well, you need to change it from my journey through anxiety to this. Change it to how to calm anxiety in 10 minutes a day, even if you've tried everything. Okay, it's about them now, as opposed to my journey through anxiety. No, it's about them now, how you can calm anxiety in 10 minutes a day, even if you've tried therapy and everything else. You see, now what are you doing now? You're stating, number one, a problem, and the problem is anxiety, but you're offering a solution. You're making a promise in the title. The promise is, I'm going to teach you how to actually handle and calm anxiety within just 10 minutes a day, even if you tried counseling, therapy, and all kind of other things. That sounds a whole lot different than the title that says, My Journey Through Anxiety. You see? So your title needs to state a problem and then offer a promise. State a title and then offer a promise, rather than, my journey, through drug addiction. It needs to be how you can overcome addiction in the next 21 days, without spending a ton of money. You see, it needs to be about the reader, how they can solve their problem and do so within a certain time period, and also to sweeten it even more, how to do so in a certain time period without resorting to some tactic or technique or whatever that they may have tried or other people have tried. How you can lose 20 pounds in the next 30 days without expensive gym memberships. You see, it's about them now, how they can get a solution to their problem in a specific amount of time without having to join a gym or spend a whole bunch of money on memberships. And so that kind of title draws people in. It draws people in and causes them to say, you know what, I need this book. Now, you're still sharing your story. You're still talking about your experience, but the way you titled the book, it sets it up so that they want to read it, because that title is talking to them. And when they pick the book up, they are reading about your story, of course, but at the end of your story, you're giving them instructions on what they need to do in order to overcome the situation you just described and just reveal that you yourself overcame. So this is what I went through. This is what I experienced. Now, this is the takeaway from my experience that you can implement in your life so that you can improve your situation. You're making everything about them as opposed to making it all about you. So this is one of the things that is so important, and I want you to just look, if you're watching right now, just type the word reader in the chat section. If you've been in that situation where you just felt frustrated and discouraged because you just didn't know what your book was really about. What kind of book am I trying to write? What type of book am I trying to put together? Just type the word reader in the chat section if that's you. Because, like I say, a lot of people, they set out to write what we call memoirs, when really what they need to do is they need to write self-help books as opposed to memoirs. Memoirs work great for celebrities. If your name is Barack Obama or LeBron James, if you are some celebrity, if you are Beyonce or whatever, yes, memoirs work great because for those individuals, they already have a large following. They have a ton of people that know them, see them day in and day out. And so when they drop their memoir where it's all about them, hey, I'm Beyonce, my journey, then people are going to flock to the bookstores and buy that because they know that person or know of them. But don't take this the wrong way. No one knows you. You don't have that kind of following. You don't have that kind of name. You don't have all of followers like that individual. You're not this national celebrity. So if you just come out with a book and say my journey, people are like, who are you? Your name isn't Beyonce, your name isn't Obama, your name isn't, or whatever, LeBron James. Well, I don't know who you are. So why in the world would I even read your journey? Like, who are you? So the only people that'll be interested are those that know you, but that's a very small circle. So how do you get beyond that circle? You title your book so that it speaks to a problem that the reader has, as opposed to simply highlighting your personal journey. And then you implement those steps, those 4 steps that I gave you, so that the book is about them as opposed to you, using your story as the platform, as the jumping board or springboard or whatever, to launch into the lesson that you want them to implement in their lives. That's how you get your book to sale. So listen, if you and listen, I want you to do this, because if you're watching and you would like help, if you would like help, you have a book or a title in mind, and you want to get some help on how to actually title it a certain way so that it actually appeals to other people. It goes beyond the small circle that you're in and actually begins to appeal to people outside of that circle. You want to title your book properly, then I definitely want you to just go ahead in the chat section, just DM, I'm ready. Just DM, I'm ready. Just put that down in the chat section if that's you. Because I want to have a conversation with you. So we do have spots available for those that want to sign up, and it's free. You ain't got to pay a dime. It's completely free to just have a conversation, and I want to help you. And I've done this for hundreds of people. I've done it for hundreds of people. Been doing it since 2010, helping people to properly title and structure their books. And if you want to, then I want to go ahead and extend that invitation to you. Just put it down in the chat section and say, hey, I'm ready. And I'll go ahead and get a resource over to you that'll help you to do just that. So again, make sure that your book is titled the right way. Make sure your book is about the reader, not about you. And again, I thank you for this time, and I can't wait to be with you on our next live. So until then, you be blessed and keep writing.